Right, 3 January 2021, and I'm joined by two guests, Mr. Innocent Diwali, the founder president of the EFF Zimbabwe, and Shelton Chiyangwa, one of the members of the MDCT who attended the Congress in Harare last week. How are you, gents?
I am fine now.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm going to start with Mr. Ndivali. You are the founder president of the EFF Zimbabwe. You have made statements about Shelton Chiyangwa, saying that he is still a member of your party. Can you clarify what is happening there? Because Shelton was attending the meeting last week of the MDCT as a delegate.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Kambakwe, for giving us this opportunity to express ourselves and to correct what needs to be corrected. I think the first thing to say before I really move into the issue that we are discussing today, I would like to take this opportunity, if you may allow me, to say to everyone who is a frontline worker in our country, who is a doctor, who is a nurse, I want to say thank you, because our country is going through a very, very serious difficulty. So we want to thank those who are right at the forefront, and we are calling upon the government to support, to invest more, to ensure that they mobilize the resources for the frontline workers. We are finally on this issue. I want to call upon the government to even bring out, the army to construct even field hospitals, because what we are about to witness is really a catastrophe in our country. So we are encouraging the government. Yes, we welcome the increased restriction, the increased lockdown. I think it is a welcome move, but the informal sector must be left open, and there must be a way of managing that. They can even stagger the informal sector, because it is the only form of economy that is driving livelihood. People do not have a support system. The government may consider grants as well, so as to support the vulnerable. Coming back to the issue of Comrade Shelton, you are aware that I have made and I have spoken to various media outlets, including newzimbabwe.com, including Studio 7, where I raised a concern. I think ours is a concern. We have said that the election of Comrade Douglas Monzora as the president of MDCT is not for us to validate or not to validate. But what we've raised is a concern, and that concern involves Comrade Shelton. Comrade Shelton joined our movement, EFF Zimbabwe, a few months ago. I can confirm that Comrade Shelton joined on the 23rd of June 2019. He joined EFF Zimbabwe as a fully fledged member. In EFF Zimbabwe, we've got a constitution. Our constitution is very clear as to how a person can become a member. So according to our constitution, Article 8(7), it is very clear that how a person becomes a member and how a person's membership can be terminated. One of the key issues in our constitution is what is expected of a member. A member is expected to be loyal and to support the party. So as far as I'm concerned, Comrade Shelton was appointed or deployed as the national chairperson of EFF Zimbabwe on the 20, because we were involved in conversation before Comrade Shelton joined. So part of his coming on board, it came with a responsibility of taking over as the national chair. So you find that his deployment, which was signed by myself, it was on the 23rd of June, 2019. Then as we went on, Comrade Shelton was very involved in the party, was a leader among us. I even mandated him to represent me at an EFF activity where the security in EFF, as you know, is a very, very top priority. We do not allow or enable certain individual to get close to the leadership of EFF. The security of the leadership of EFF is very, very paramount. So, but because Comrade Shelton was the national chairperson, we had passed the test according to our processes. I mandated him. This is why you see him. There are videos that he went to the EFF event where he took pictures with the commander-in-chief of the African Revolution, because EFF is not a South African issue, it's an African issue. We are engaged in a revolution where we expect our comrades or our members, including our fighters, to be loyal to the revolution, to be loyal to the leadership. So according to the mandate that I gave Comrade Shelton, it was based on the fact that he is a full member, is loyal to the revolution, not only to the EFF Zimbabwe, EFF across Africa. Then in 20, on the 27th of January 2020, Comrade Shelton was redeployed. I want you to understand that. On the 27th of January 2020, Comrade Shelton was redeployed to another portfolio. Comrade Shelton was redeployed from the office of the National Chairperson to the office of the Deputy Treasurer General. What followed that was because I was looking at the behavior that Comrade Shelton was displaying, and I was becoming concerned. And this led to Comrade Shelton refusing or turning down the redeployment, opting to remain a member without any responsibilities. But in between there, Comrade Shelton saw it fit because he loved the revolution so much. He was so loyal to the revolution. Remember, we are a socialist party. We are a party on the left. MDCT is a social democrat. So we are totally in different kind of ideological, grounding. So Comrade Shelton was very clear that he is a member of our revolution. He adhered and he subscribed to the ideological framework of EFF. He subscribed to the 7 cardinal pillars of the EFF, including land expropriation without compensation, including expropriation of strategic sectors of the economy, including our Leninist, Marxist, and Fanonian drive to the politics. He subscribed to that. So as far as I'm concerned, Comrade Shelton stepped down from leadership, but he remained a member. But I think a few days ago, Comrade Shelton brought it to my attention that he resigned, that he sent correspondence to the former Secretary General, including myself. But when I checked, I could not find. All that I got was an email that he sent to me. But in most cases, when someone is stepping down, you don't write to me, you write to the SG. So I checked with the former SG, Comrade Siposenkosi Balule. He confirmed to me that he did not receive an official resignation by Comrade Chiyangwa. So what to us it means really, we are different from what happens to MDC, where they say that if you support or you join another political party, automatically you are expelled. It is very clear, that one is very clear in one of the articles that I'll point out. But what really happened to us, we remain seized with finding out whether indeed Comrade Shelton left us or whether he's still our member. If he's still our member, he is not automatically expelled. He will be subjected to disciplinary processes. Then it is after that disciplinary process that a decision will be taken whether to expel him or whether to subject him to other processes. So this is what we've raised. And then we said, because the Congress that they were holding, remember the men who was contesting, including the acting president, Comrade Thokozani Khuphe, they were contesting on the basis of the Supreme Court judgment, okay? And that Supreme Court judgment was premised on constitutionalism. So we became concerned that if indeed it's constitutionalism that they are driving, if indeed the person who is also competing, Comrade Mokora, the person who led the writing of the constitution of the country, if I'm not mistaken, he was the co-chair with Comrade Paul Mangwana. So we thought that they were going to ensure that they adhere to the constitution. So we became concerned when we saw our member standing up, actually raising a motion and moving a motion. And then we became concerned. And we said, look, if this indeed happened, we must actually raise this as a patriotic opposition, because we are not a pressure group. We are an opposition. We are a political party. As far as we are concerned, in as much as he may not have been expelled by us, but certainly was expelled, or he expelled himself by joining EFF on the 23rd of June 2019. So that is where we are coming from.
Okay, Mr. Ndibali, I can hear you clearly, and I want to summarize what you just said. You said Shelton Chiyangwa, who is on the screen, number 3, was a leader in your party. You deployed him to a leadership position, but because of indiscipline, you had to redeploy him, and then he remained an ordinary member. So Shelton, I would like to give you an opportunity to respond to what Mr. Ndibali has just said.
All right, thank you very much. Allow me to also take this opportunity to greet all your viewers on Gambako Media, and allow me to greet the entire membership of the MDC, as led by our newly elected president, Dr. Honorable Douglas Munzor. Allow me to also take this opportunity to congratulate once again our newly elected president of the MDCT, who has taken over from where the visionary and our icon, the late Morgan Tsvangirai, left from. Yes, my name is Shelton Chiyangwa, and I am the 2014 elected chairperson of the South Africa Province Youth Assembly. Thank you very much, Mr. Gambako, for inviting me to your platform. I must say I was particularly shocked when I saw news flying around that I was being accused of slapping our Vice President, Madam Thokozani Khuphe, which is basically the reason why we had to come on this platform today. But before we go to the issue of the slapping of our Vice President, allow me to respond to what Mr. Ndibali has said. Indeed, when I was removed from the MDC in late 2016 because of factional issues that we had, you must remember that as we went to the 2014 election, I was supporting the then SG. I was supporting Douglas Munzora for SG. So issues that emanated from his election then, because I was in that team that was supporting Douglas Munzora for SG, continued to escalate within our fallen ranks in the MDC. I was frustrated quite a lot. There was a lot of things that happened in the party, which then saw me being removed by members of another faction from the National, which were pro Nelson Chamisa. So those issues caused me to leave the party. And when I left the party, I then decided to continue with my political activism elsewhere. And because of that, because of those issues that frustrated me, I had to, caress my mentality in terms of wanting to continue with what I believed needed to be done by a political activist, and that is to fight for the justice of everyone in Zimbabwe and democracy in Zimbabwe. All right. So that actually saw me at one time joining this particular party, if I can put it that way, called EFF Zimbabwe. Yes, I joined that party at those dates that he mentioned, and I can confirm that I did join. The very day I joined, the next day, I was appointed the national chairperson of that movement. And yes, indeed, I've represented Mr. Ndibale at various platforms because, as you might all know, he is based in the UK. I am in South Africa. I represented him at one time at an EFF South Africa anniversary. Yes, that I can confirm. So everything that then happened then within the party, I am not at liberty to discuss those things. They are very, not necessary for me. They are not important at this stage. Then it happened that there was a Supreme Court ruling, that brought all the structures of the MDC to 2014. The Supreme Court ruling was handed down, and at that time I had already left this. I don't know whether it's a party or a pressure group or what. Yeah, if I can put it that way, I had already left. So this is what happened. I had issues with Mr. Ndibale on a lot of issues. I had issues with many other people that were in that party on a lot of issues. One of the main issues I was having with him was that he cannot continue to lead from the UK if he wants to be taken serious in Zimbabwe. The other issue I fought seriously with him, or I disagreed seriously with him, was the issue of him wanting to dictate things and in the party and all. I didn't really understand how they were operating, but we had issues that were beyond correction, that were beyond mending or something. So I decided to write to them after he wake up one morning without having discussed with the person whom he called his national chairperson. He woke up one day and he says that he had redeployed me to a certain position. I don't know the issue of indiscipline, sorry, that he talks about and all. But one morning we woke up and that this Mr. Ndibale had redeployed me. So I said to him, I was not interested in the redeployment because it does not address issues that we are not agreeing on. It does not address issues that are being raised by ordinary members in that formation. And because he was so adamant and he was so clear about it, I then decided to talk to him. I am not going to take up that redeployment. So what then happened after that was that I then wrote to the EFF South Africa. Remember, EFF is an idea that is spread across Africa. So I thought it was important for me to raise issues that were causing the party called EFF Zimbabwe not to grow in Zimbabwe and remain on WhatsApp, because this is what it is. The party remains on WhatsApp and on Facebook. There is no meaningful things happening in that part. I'm not even here to discredit it, or I'm not even here to talk about it, but it's just one joke called a political party. So I wrote to Mr. Malema and his entire top six, raising issues, fundamental issues that I thought needed to be looked into. Because this Mr. Ndibale also sits in what they call the African Council. And if you look at other presidents of EFFs in other countries, they are way better off, well connected with their people and all. and yes, and yet he continues to be a foreign-based player. So I raised those issues, and I was hoping that when these issues are addressed, we then can be able to find a common ground. So the leadership of the EFF, that he doesn't know, Mr. Ndibali doesn't know, the leadership of the EFF, after receiving the letter I wrote to them, they responded to me saying that they were going to look into the matter, right? So he was into telling his members and other people that the EFF South Africa has dismissed what Shelton has said. But they did respond to me. I've got the emails to prove that. And they said they will look into the matter. So one of the things that I raised was that this guy you are all seeing here is also of a British citizenship. Zimbabwe's constitution, of course, allows dual citizenship, but we raised those issues that you cannot continue to play the leading role from the UK and all. So and many other issues that speaks about the party continuing to being on WhatsApp, on Facebook. I can definitely tell you that this party was founded in 2016. There is nothing I don't know about the EFF Zimbabwe because I was the national chairperson, so I was privy to all the information about this party. There is nothing that Ndibali, anybody else in this party can tell me that I don't know. The party since 2016 remains on Facebook. It may have structures probably here and there. They also boast of being of having participated in election under the Rainbow Coalition of some sort, but they remained people who participated really in a briefcase and on WhatsApp and on Facebook. There isn't really a party to talk about. And because I am an activist who believes the politics of connecting with the grassroots, a politics of connecting with the people, I could not continue being in this shame called the EFF. They are doing very well in their own right on WhatsApp, as click list and all that. They are doing very well, but I could not just have a space in that formation. And you might want to know that when they redeployed me, I think because that's what they do. Mr. Ndibali would wake up every morning, every day they redeploy and redeploy and redeploy. I don't know how many redeployments have happened in that part on Facebook. And with people that he hasn't met, Mr. Ndibali has not met. I met him once, but I was his national chairperson. Many people who are in his leadership right now, if you want to ask them, many of them who are in this current leadership of Mr. Ndibali's party, which is now the former president, he has not met them. He has never met anybody. At that time, he had never met anyone because as a national chairperson, I had spoken to everyone and a lot of people. He has just met a handful of people from Bulawayo, where he comes from, and he met them at a time where he would have gone to Bulawayo for a visit. Take a few photos and calls himself a president of a party. So when my issues were not addressed, they responded to me that they will look into it. But when the issues took very long to be addressed, I could not give them, credit. I could not give Mr. Ndibali and his party credit and say, guys, I am resigning from being a member or what. I simply walked away. I simply left the nonsensical formation called EFF Zimbabwe. I simply left, a WhatsApp pressure group and started wanting to focus more on what is going to help me push for the agenda of the people in Zimbabwe. So I left. I don't even remember the dates of when I left the party. How can you become a member of a party and you are not involved? I'm not in any WhatsApp groups. I am not in any communication with them. I see Ndibali in WhatsApp groups, and I see some of his members in WhatsApp groups where everybody is. I am not involved in that party. I am not a member of that political party. I left a long time ago. And when the Supreme Court ruling was handed down, I contacted the leadership of the MDC and told them that issues that we were raising then before I left the party have been rectified by the courts. I want to be a part of the movement that I belong to. I want to be a part of the movement, which was my very first movement that I joined when I started politics. And then I was welcomed, and I was told that yes, everybody has been brought back to 2014, and because of that, I started to be active in the party where I belong. So I was particularly shocked to hear, this Mr. Ndibali and many other people claiming that I'm their member. I'm not their member. If they want people, they must go on the streets and recruit. If you want people, you go on a drive and recruit people. You don't come and want to seek relevance with an individual who has long left you. I don't even remember the last time I spoke to Ndibali himself. I don't even remember the last time I spoke to his former SG, because after then a lot of things also happened.
Okay, Shelton, I need to stop you. I think you've made your point.
Okay, let me just finish. I want to also give you another example of how this Mr. Ndibali deals with people he doesn't know and claims that they are their member. At one time, we woke up one morning that Mr. Ndibali had appointed Abiona Mataranyika to be the youth leader of EFF Zimbabwe. And you all know Abiona Mataranyika is the Zinasu president. She's the first female Zinasu president. And when I went to his inbox and I said, but how come you have appointed this Chamisa fanatic? How come you have appointed this all-time Chamisa member? He says to me that she is our member. They said, have you met Abiona Mataranyika in your life or in any way? She says, no, I've never met him. I've appointed him the same way I've appointed you. In less than an hour, Abiona Mataranyika came on a WhatsApp group with everyone and distanced herself from the stupid appointment that happened to her. And she says, I don't even know this Mr. Ndibali. I don't even know where this whole thing is coming from. So my special advice, or my friendly advice, Mr. Ndibali, I know you are a very good person. You and your people go and look for members on the streets corners. Stop claiming membership of Shelton Chiyangwa. I am not a part of your member. I went to be a delegate of the Extraordinary Congress. You don't just wake up and be a delegate. You don't wake up to be a delegate. Run the Extraordinary Congress. I was attending national councils of the party. You don't just wake up at an Extraordinary Congress. And at an Extraordinary Congress, you are accredited as a delegate. And I participated in the Congress, leading to moving the motion, endorsing the resolutions of the Congress, because I'm a fully fledged, bona fide delegate of the FDCT, now led by Honorable Senator Douglas Monzora. I'm not a member, Mr. Ndibali. Leave me alone. Go and look for people on the streets.
Okay, Shelton, I hear you, and you have clarified yourself. You are not a member of the EFF. You left a long time ago. You don't respect Mr. Ndibali. You don't respect his political party. You think they're a joke. That's what you say.
Yes, they're a shame.
Okay, so I hear you. Now let's go to the key.
They actually are tarnishing the image of the EFF ideology, which was founded by CIC Julius Malema. And those are issues I raised in the letter that I wrote to him. And the letter I wrote to Mr. Malema is what then later caused Mr. Ndibali here to step down as the AFF president of Zimbabwe. He will tell you, if he has got time, why he then later stepped down. There is nothing that still happens in their party that is not in the public domain or that we don't know. But he is no longer the president of that party because of the issues I raised in the letter I wrote to CIC Malema. This guy is abusing the name of the EFF, whose ideology I still think as a Democrat is a very good ideology in the emancipation of African politics.
Okay, let me go to the key question. Mr. Ndibali, you said Shelton lacks discipline. He's indisciplined. You have also said in one interview with one online newspaper that he is the one who slapped Dr. Thokozani Khuphe. Do you stand by that statement?
Look, you do not need seriously got no respect for constitutionalism. He's got no understanding whatsoever what actually it takes to be a member of a political party. For example, he doesn't realize that when you join another political party, according to the MDC constitution, when you join another political party, their own constitution is very, very clear. Is very, very clear that you cease to be a member. Article 510 is very, very clear. And look, he is ranting and waffling and insulting. So because of his behavior, this is what I said to the newspaper.com guys. I said, look, I'm unable to vouch and say that Comrade Shelton did not do that. I said I'm not the one to confirm. It is their members, their party, their leader to confirm whether indeed he did that. But look at his behavior. When you look at a behavior like this, where one is ranting, insulting, and demeaning individuals, for your own information, let me just clarify. Because this gentleman has been going around telling people about me, about where I live, and look. I went to court in Zimbabwe when I introduced the EFF Zimbabwe, when President Mugabe was still the president. And I was actually brought to court because the argument was that, can I please speak? At least show discipline and respect.
Madam President, Vice President Khuphe, you were asking.
Ask him to...
Okay, Shelton, give him a chance to talk.
No, what I'm saying is that, my brother, Shelton does, he says...
Okay, I'm going to ask him, Shelton, I'm going to ask him, give him a chance to speak.
He says that he doesn't understand. For example, Article 510 of their constitution talks about what happens when you join or support any other political member. This applies to Chamisa and so on, because they ceased to be members of MDCT because they joined other political, so they automatically expelled themselves. This guy automatically expelled himself from MDCT. So the question is, when did he join rejoin MDCT? Because there is a clear article which talks about how to rejoin, how to join MDCT. In terms of us, to be honest with you, we as EFF
Okay, Mr. Ndibali, we're having issues with sound.
Let me go to the issue of slapping again. Shelton has been talking for a long time and waffling. What I'm saying is that Shelton, even in this platform, he failed to condemn the violence that was meted against Dr. Thokozani Khuphe. Dr. Thokozani Khuphe was their acting president. You know, when these guys in MDCT says Chinjama Itiro, we used to think that they mean that change things like violence. How did they continue saying Chinjama Itiro after that guy, who whether it's him or somebody else, had slapped Mike Khuphe? Did they continue saying Chinjama Itiro? Because Chinjama Itiro must include them, because clearly they are violent. So we must be very clear about that. Violence, even more so against women. It is an embarrassment, it is barbaric, it is unacceptable. So you cannot come here and try to deflect the issues. That Congress was a festival of chaos and violence. And we must condemn it, and we must be able to tell even Comrade Muzora, because that is embarrassing to him, because I believe he is a leader. I do not believe if he continued to entrust the people like Shelton, who are hopping from one political party to another, twerking for political parties, twerking for funds. What Shelton is doing is an opportunist, is a career politician who took an advantage because I entrusted him with Julius Malema, and he wrote a letter because I gave him the platform to backstab me. Yet he should have been a disciplined, a loyal fighter as per our constitution. But he failed to do so. He will fail in MDC. He continued to fail in ZIM. He continued to fail in Mamuju. This man has been to so many political parties, twerking his way through different political parties. Ask him, when did he rejoin MDC? Because he automatically expelled himself. When did he rejoin?
Okay, Mr. Ndibali and Shelton, I'm hearing you guys, and you seem to have a lot of beef between yourself. But the question that will need to be answered today, obviously, you've said Shelton nominated Senator Douglas Monzora, from my understanding, and you said he was not supposed to do that because he is your member. Am I hearing you correctly?
Absolutely. Even himself, he can't remember when he even left or when he actually resigned. So, deducing from that, you can tell that he's still our member. So, we've got a member of EFL Zimbabwe, a political party. He says we are a pressure group. You see, this is lies. We are not a pressure group. When you joined Shelton, you did not join a pressure group. You joined a political party. He's running away from the fact that he expelled himself. So he was not supposed to vote in that Congress. There are a few other people that attended with you, Shelton, that are members of EFF. You brought those people. They were with you in that Congress. So the risk of invalidating that Congress is very high because you were delegates where you were not supposed to be delegates. Simple.
Okay. Can I ask you another question? Shelton, give me a moment. I want to just develop what he's saying. Mr. Ndibali, you have made accusations that Shelton was working with Xavier Kasukuwere to replace you. Is that why you were angry with Shelton?
No, absolutely not. I'm not angry with Shelton, but I feel sorry rather for the chap, because one time, look, let me give you an example of the character of this man. He came to me and said, I must go to the bank to ask for money so that I can fund the party at personal level. He said this, in terms of him lobbying Kasukuwere and others, this man was engaged in various lobbying so that someone can. This man is a tribalist. Let me tell you, this man is very tribal. He had problems with the people who, he even continued to say, I'm from Bulawayo. I'm not from Bulawayo. I'm from Midlands. And you see, this man, the problem that this man is struggling with is tribalism, sexism. He hounded the girl that he's talking about from University of Zimbabwe. He hounded that young girl out because he's very, very anti-women. Let me be. This is where I have differed with this man. But the truth of the matter, he was lobbying so many people so that they can take over. One of the things that he wrote in that letter that he should publicize what he wrote. One of the things that he wrote in that letter, he insinuated that Ndibali is from a smaller tribe. So therefore, Ndibali cannot lead EFF Zimbabwe. EFF Zimbabwe will not grow because you need someone from nationality. He even said it to me, him. So this is a tribal man. This is a divisive man. This is a dangerous man. You will be a danger to yourself and Comrade Monzora. You will be a danger to MDCT. So this is why you were even willing to vote, yet you were not a delegate, because you did not understand the magnitude, because this was an extraordinary Congress. This was a serious issue that was, put by the Supreme Court to do, but you had the guts to go there and vote, yet you were a member of another political party. You must be ashamed of yourself, Shelton. And honestly speaking, you will end up in a difficult situation because you are mixing so many things. You're moving from one political party to another. Last time I checked, you wanted to join Linda Masarira. Last time you wanted to join Zipu. Last time you joined. Honestly, this is what you do, comrade. You need to calm down. You need to follow processes. If you wanted to rejoin FDC, you should have applied as per their constitution. You should have applied through the branch executive of the MDCT and rejoined, but you didn't do. You didn't do that.
Okay, Shelton, you've got the floor now. I'm giving you 3 minutes. We need to wrap up. Are you a member of the EFF? Did you try to replace?
All right, thank you, Mr. Kambagwe. I want to put this record straight once again. I am not a member of this party called EFF or a pressure group called EFF Zimbabwe. I am not a member of them. If they want people, they certainly cannot give Shelton. They must go and look for people, either on WhatsApp where they are dominant, or Facebook where they are dominant, and Twitter. But certainly they are not going to be having Shelton. I'm not their member. He's a former president of a party who is clinging to one person, and yet they are supposed to be going out there to recruit and get people and have people. So I'm not a member of their party. One other thing that I also want to reiterate is that Mr. Ndibali is not in a position to talk about what happens in the MDC because he's not a member there. So he's not in a position to talk about the issues on how the MDC is run. He's not a member there. If there are issues to do with my membership there or whatever, it's not in his position for him to talk about those. He knows nothing about the MDCT. You understand? And he says that I'm a tribalist, I'm a sexist, and all those things. You could clearly see that this is coming from some sour grapes. I left them when they needed me most. I left them when I was a darling party. I made things happen. I made things to happen in that party. He says that I am a sexist. I'm the one who created the women's command when they did not have it. I advocated for the involvement of women in his own main bum jive grouping that he had. I'm the one who brought women who are kind of very effective and participating in that party. So everybody who knows me across the world knows that I am not a tribalist. That is why when issues that started happening in the MDC, I was pro-Khuphe. I was supporting Madam Thokozani Khuphe to say that she was supposed to be the one taking over from in acting capacity when Morgan Tsvangirai died. I was against how Chamisa assumed power because I was advocating for Madam Thokozani Khuphe. That is the reason why I got removed from the party. I got enemies and started to fight with the Chamisa faction. So you must understand, if you ask anyone in the MDC, they'll tell you that I was an avid supporter of Madam Thokozani Khuphe. Even as we were running up towards the extraordinary Congress, my province, many people from South Africa province were supporting Madam Thokozani Khuphe. Even if I had voted for Madam Thokozani Khuphe, I still had the right to rejoin the party. Wait and accept and endorse the resolutions of a party. It does not mean that you can only endorse resolutions of a Congress if your preferred candidate has won. No, it doesn't work like that. We are bound by a majority rule, right? On the issue of joining political parties and what he's saying, Zimbabwe is a multi-democracy. A multi-party democracy. These are mistakes that I regret. I am on record telling people that when I left the MDC at one time, these are mistakes I regret to this day. That I found myself in some lousy formations that has now put a serious political dent on my life. And these are mistakes that I am prepared to live with, mistakes that I'm prepared to correct, because I am where I belong. So I've been on record, even on my Facebook, telling people that I've been there, done that, seen that. They are all a shame. These small parties are all a shame. Perhaps I'm going to be very influential. Perhaps I'm going to be very influential in advocating for a better understanding of the political terrain in Zimbabwe with my involvement in the party, because I'll tell them that hakuna chiriko kumunga uko. Hakuna chiriko, you know, so he cannot come here and say that I joined this and I joined that and I joined that, and so that Zimbabwe is a multi democratic party nation which has got so many political parties, where one has got a democratic right to belong and not to belong. But certainly at this time and stage, I don't belong to the political party of this man who is the former president of EFF Zimbabwe. I want to give a clarion call or a friendly advice to Mr. Ndibali and your friends that you shift your political ideas from social media and start looking for people on the ground. That Malema was also on record telling you, CIC Malema was on record telling you that when we met with the top six of the EFF South Africa, with the Liberians and the people from Malawi and all, this was said, you were told that you needed to be connected to the ground. Now let me come to the issue of Xavier Kasukwere, or looking for someone who had to replace him. You will remember, Mr. Gambakwe, that when the EFF held its Congress or its National Assembly, right? When it held its Congress, Mr. Xavier Kasukwere and Patrick Joao attended that Congress, and they attended. He also attended with some of his people. And on his opening remarks, Comrade CIC Malema said, "I am giving a call to all the political leaders of Zimbabwe who are here to say, go and unite. In fact, if you can, consider joining the EFF," because they went there without not representing any political party. He says to them, "I do not want to hear of an EFF on Twitter and on Facebook and all. So go and consider joining the EFF or unite, so that you fight for the lives of the people of Zimbabwe." Now, I was the national chairperson at that time. It was my duty to engage people who had been identified by CIC Malema, you know. So I engaged Comrade Xavier Kasukwere, not for him to usurp power or take over power from Ndibali, which I think he was also going to be a better person, or because he's so connected to the people, even though he has got a ZANU-PF background, or Patrick Joao. So I engaged them and I said, "Gentlemen, you heard what CIC Malema said. What's your take?" Comrade Xavier Kasukwere was very clear on that. He says he's not interested in joining the party. He is pursuing his own political idea. Comrade Patrick Joao said he is also not interested in joining this party. In fact, you know, Comrade Patrick Joao had joined the party at one time, but because he's on asylum, he had to withdraw his membership EFF South Africa. You understand? So I engaged Comrade Xavier Kasukwere on that kind of an understanding that this was mentioned at a Congress by CIC Malema to say, you can't come here and want to be recognized all coming from Zimbabwe and divided. Or go and be united. So I engaged him based on that. You can't tell me about the discipline. You always tell people about discipline. I don't know whether you are disciplined yourself, but I mean, you can tell that to the members of your party. I am not a member of your party. Go and look for people. Put placards, posters, and say, I'm looking for people. Come join the EFF. I don't belong to your party. And as of joining other political parties, I want to repeat and all. It's a mistake that I regret so much, but I have learned quite a lot of things, and because of that, I'm prepared to correct those things that I've learned, put into place and into practice things that I've learned in shaping a clear political future for myself and the party that I belong to.
Okay, I think what I'm realizing is that the two of you have got
I want him.
a set.
I want him. The issue of me slapping Madam Thokozani Khuphe, because that's a serious deformation of character. If he confirms that he is saying that I'm the one who slapped our vice president, then I will be able to know what to do from here on. Because once again, I want to make this clear to everyone that I did not slap Madam Vice President Thokozani Khuphe. When this happened, I was not there. You can look at the footages at the Rainbow Towers. When this happened, I was not even in the voting station or in the conference center. I was at the reception of the HICC, you know, because I was busy dealing with my issues of my reservations there. So I was actually surprised with the noise that happened there, and I don't know what had happened, what had transpired. Everything that happened there, I was seeing it. I started seeing it later on various social media platforms. I don't even know what happened. So if he says that he is saying I am slaved, Madam Thokozani Khuphe, I want him to confirm it once again right now so that I know, because I am putting it on record that I did not do such a thing. In fact, when she came to the Rainbow Towers reception, she saw me with AIDS. She was actually even telling me ukuthi Shelton wena uyekelani izinto zihamba kanje ku voting station and all. We had a quick conversation with her before she got into the Rainbow Towers reception, proceeding to where she was going. And I was surprised what had really happened. But I was so shocked that this man who claims to be me being a member of their party, also saying that I slept there. What happened to Madam Thokozani Khuphe is seriously regrettable, cannot be accepted, and we condemn it with the concept it deserves. But I'm not here to talk about it because the party that I belong is working on internal investigations to make sure that the person who did that is going to be brought to book. So I'm not going to be here to talk about it. But violence in any political party is regrettable and cannot be tolerated. Violence anywhere else cannot be tolerated. I am one person on record who is seriously against violence in any political party. I myself cannot even kill a fly. How would I disrespect my whole vice president of the party, former acting president, and slap her? Why would I? I've never slapped my wife. I've never slapped my wife in 10 years that I'm celebrating this year in marriage with her. I've never slapped her even once. How come I would ever slap a whole vice president of a party? Ask people from Goromonzi South where I have been, where I'm a registered voter, whether I have been involved in any intra-party violence. I don't do that. I don't do that. So if you want to seek relevance, Mr. Ndibali, with my name, I'm sure by now the EFF has had lots of likes and loves on Facebook. But try by all means to generate those loves and likes to become members. You need people. You don't go about claiming ownership of people that are not your members. I'm not your member.
Shelton, you have made your point.
That so that I know the steps to take from there on.
Okay, you've made your point, Shelton, and sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback. So, Mr. Ndibali,
Yes.
I think Shelton's story checks out in terms of him talking to Dr. Khuphe after the slapping incident. Where did you get your information?
No,
Or did the journalists misquote you?
For me, what I've said, Zimbabwe, is that the first thing that I've said is that, look, I'll say to you that I condemn the violence on Dr. Khuphe in the strongest terms, and I've called for the arrest of the perpetrators because, you know, such attack, such violence cannot be accepted. Remember that the ill treatment of Dr. Khuphe, you know, gives the wrong message to our children, the young girls who would want to take part in politics. It is very regrettable. It must be condemned by every Zimbabwean or everyone else. So coming back to the issue of slapping Dr. Khuphe by Mr. Chiyangwa, What I said is that I'm unable, because they were contacting me on the basis that is our member. So I said I was not at the venue. I had not mandated him to go to the venue. I am unable to confirm, or I'm unable to unconfirm. This is what I said. And I still stand with that. Look at the behavior of the chap. The chap clearly is very unstable. Probably he is a danger to himself and others. So when he says that EFF is not a political party, EFF is a pressure group, he moves from pressure group to political party as it suits him. Let me tell you, Mr. Gambakwe, what we have in Zimbabwe right now, we need what is called total change, radical total change. What we have two MDCs, or how many ever they are. These parties for the last 20 years have wasted our time. So what you have, you've got a judiciary structured MDC led by President Douglas Monzora, which is twerking to ZANU-PF. And you've got the scattered and scared MDC alliance, which is led by Nelson Chamisa, failing to provide checks and balances, failing to hold the government accountable. So you've got a vacuum. So this vacuum can only be filled by EFF Zimbabwe. He is very, very right that I'm very much involved in Africa. For his own information, I've taken an active role in the formation of EFF Africa across Liberia, Malawi, Namibia, and so on. I'm a highly respected comrade and a disciplined, loyal EFF member. You see, in EFF, comrade Gambangwe, we've got discipline. And the discipline to us is like something that we can't do without. We have to be disciplined. We have to respect leadership. We have to follow protocol. This man failed to follow the protocol. So therefore, what I'm unable to do is to confirm whether what is said to have happened indeed happened, or did actually Comrade Shelton get involved? Was he nearby? I'm unable to do so because I was not at the venue. But what I can tell you from my own feeling is that probably he didn't do it. Someone else did it. But if someone else did it, this man equally is probably capable of doing things that are more than what he's telling us right now. Because his temperament, clearly you can see him, is getting worked up. He's moving from insult, hailing. This man is there in public, the platform, hailing insult even to the president himself. I mean, he denied. He's there. You have never seen me as the leader of EFF hailing insult to anyone. I can differ with someone on policy. We are a socialist movement. MDC is a social democrat. This man moves from one ideology to another. The final thing that I'm going to say, Mr. Gambagwe, is that Comrade Shelton is not a bad man, but he is misleading himself and misleading others. He went to that Congress with a number of people that he brought to join EFF, who probably voted just like him. What he doesn't understand is that MDC, whatever form they are, whether MDC Monzora, MDC Chamisa, these guys have been wasting our time. So he doesn't understand that Zimbabwe has got an interest to make sure that things are done through constitutionalism. The national constitution of the country is very clear. How a person attains power, how a person retains power is through democratic constitutionalism. What we saw at that Congress, we had violence, we had chaos, we had insults. I would not confirm whether this man did not hail insults to Comrade Khuphe. How do I do that? Look at what he's hailing right now to me. Diwali is a non-entity. Diwali does not. He knows. He never visited structures. We've got structures in North, structures in Midlands, structures in Bulawayo. We've got structures in Victoria Falls. He knows that. But he's playing. He knows that in Cheredi, people crossed the floor from MDC Alliance and MDC and ZANU-PF into EFF Zimbabwe. He knows that. But he's playing politics. But my advice to you, my friend, is that let us be factual. When you speak of me, I'm born of a Zipra cadre. I was born in Zambia, Kabwe, a transit camp for Zipra by a Zipra fighter. A number of people were born outside the country. I'll be surprised if even President Mnangagwa doesn't have children who were born either in Zambia or in other countries. I'm a son of a freedom fighter. So I'm not new. I'm a Zimbabwean. Here is my passport. This is my passport. I'm a Zimbabwean. I work in Europe. But believe me, I've probably voted more than you. Every election I'm voting in Zimbabwe. I've got businesses in Zimbabwe. I provide jobs in Zimbabwe. I run Zimbabwe Unemployed People's Association in Zimbabwe. I employ people. Even you, when I was in South Africa, I fed you. You yourself. So do not come here and pretend as if I'm a non-entity. We've got people, Comrade Gambagwe, who are working hard to improve the lives of the people. We fed the people in South Africa. We fed people in Magwegwe. We fed people in Victoria Falls through EFF. So let us not mix issues. Let's respect the EFF as a political party, not a pressure group. We are not a pressure group. You joined a political party. By joining a political party, Comrade Shelton, let me educate you on this. Section 510, Article 510 of the Constitution of MDC says once you join another political party or support another political, you've expelled yourself. But ours does not say that. Ours says once you support or join another political party, you'll be subjected to a disciplinary proceeding. It is the disciplinary hearing that will recommend your expulsion. So we have not expelled you. You are still a member of EFF, whether you like it or not. And according to our books, you are still our member. So I will be raising this issue with your so-called president because you are our member. Yes, you are our member. Whatever you say in our books, you have not resigned. You can't even remember yourself. You said you just walked away. You don't do that like that. You don't just walk away. Follow the protocol. Put your resignation in order through the office of the Secretary General so that we know. It's not a check-in, check-out, check-in, check-out thing. We've got protocol. You know that.
Okay, Mr. Ndibali, I want us to wrap this up. You have said what you're going to do. Are you going to apologize? Are you going to take any action towards the election of Douglas Monzora? Is this where you're going? Do you want to challenge or to assist people who are going to challenge the election of Douglas Monzora as president?
It is not for us to validate or not to validate the election of Monzora. But what we are saying is that we are concerned because this is a man who participated in the writing of the constitution of the country. We expect him to do better. So if Comrade Shelton is unable to clearly clarify the protocol that he followed in resigning, it is incumbent upon us as a bona fide political party in Zimbabwe to ensure that the culture that we have to start building is a culture of what Zimbabweans used to be. We used to be known to be honest, to be caring, to be compassionate, to respect and be loyal. We've lost all these things. These things have been, permeating from the top to the bottom. So we've got young people like Shelton who are happy to break rules at willy-nilly. without understanding that the culture that is nurturing is dangerous. So we cannot allow these things to continue. So if we are called upon to be part of a process that will drive a better Zimbabwe, seriously we will consider that. But certainly we need to be respected. We do not need to be insulted as a political party because we are as good as any other political party in Zimbabwe. Certainly MDC, we do not fear them. We believe that they've been wasting our time. They've run down local authorities. They are corrupt. They respect no one. He is equally as corrupt. So we will not.
Okay.
So if we are asked to say, look, what do you say about this? But certainly we do not want to undermine his election. If you want, fine. But for as a matter of fact, before they went to their Congress, I wished the Comrade Monsora well. You can check with him. I wished Dr. Khuphe well. I've spoken to them. And for you, Shelton, to come here and say EFF is nothing, you are not telling the truth. What did you do yourself as the national chairperson of EFF? Did you build even one structure?
Okay, I think Mr. Ndibali.
If I were to ask you right now, you don't even know when the Supreme Court decision was made. You probably do not even know when President Tsvangirai passed away. You are just following because it's exciting, because you are a guy who likes twerking in public, twerking for everything. Please mature up and be a politician of note.
Okay, I hear you, Mr. Ndibali. Shelton, give me a moment to wrap up because I don't want to leave Mr. Ndibali without completing what he said. He said, okay, he's going to.
I just need a few. I heard from the beginning you were saying that you are going to be left with him. So I just need a few more minutes because I don't have enough all the time. Yeah, I don't have all the night with you. I need to just clear out, respond to a few issues that he has raised. But you can go ahead and then after that you give me a platform.
Okay, I want us to wrap up. So Mr. Ndibali said his last part, which is that if he's approached by Thokozani Khuphe's side, if they are aggrieved, he's going to assist them with information that you are a member of his party. So I think this covers everything that was said here. He is saying you are still a member of the EFF. You did not leave the EFF. So now you can say your last part. I'm going to give you an opportunity to be the last one to speak.
All right, Mr. Gambakwe and everyone who is following and reading and listening to this, Mr. Ndibali can go, to any length and can go as far as he wants to be a part of those that are probably disputing the election. It is what it is. Honorable Senator Douglas Munzara has been elected to be the president. He is now the substantive president of the MDC. And the party is on its way to, to unite everyone and make sure that the aftermath of Congress, is dealt with and we move on to build the party that we want and united. I'm not surprised what Mr. Ndibali is saying because he capitalizes on every public platform to campaign for his party and wants to try and massage and sugarcoat the party to be something that is really called a party when it's really nothing but a pressure group. Ask anyone in Zimbabwe if they know of their existence. They don't know. I mean, probably they'll probably start knowing about it. Yeah. So I didn't know that I was going to be a part of this discussion to also listen to him trying to canvass for support and being liked and loved by people out there. But that's certainly not what I'm here for. I have clarified the two issues that were very fundamental and that were very critical that I am not a member of this formation called EFF. Yes, I was, and I left. I left. I don't care about the issues of their protocols and all. I did not want to give them any credit of wanting to go through all those processes. I'm not their member. I don't even know the last time I participated in anything to do with them. In fact, Ndibali is the one who ordered my removal from all the groups a long time ago before I even wrote to the EFF, including those from the African Union, African Council and all. So I am not a part of them. I'm a member of the MDCC led by Honorable Senator Douglas Ngonzora. Him and his friends who wants to dispute what has been endorsed at HICC on the 27th of December can go ahead and do so. The party, the MDC led by Simboti, is very strong. The party as led by Douglas Ngonzora is very strong and intact. And I did not just find myself as a delegate, at the Congress. There are so many things that are involved with all delegates. I'm a National Council member and all. So I will conclude by saying the gentleman who is wearing red there, he can call me all sorts of names and all. I have acknowledged my participation in other political parties, and I've also acknowledged that those are mistakes that I still regret. But in those mistakes, I'm never going to be finding myself being a member of the EFF Zimbabwe, even if it's the last political party left, because it is what it is on social media and not on the ground. So my final advice to this: he's a very good person. Like he says that I'm also a good person. He's a good person. He speaks clearly well, and when he speaks, you want to listen to him. He says that when I came to Johannesburg, he fed me. Ask him how I came to Johannesburg and how I went to all the functions and all the programs. I do so with my own resources. I don't know when he says he fed me, because at one time, okay, I don't even want to get into all that. But I mean, I used my own resources to travel everywhere. He knows that. Even when we went to Kwanyamazana and all, feeding me, really, a whole former president of the party talking about feeding somebody because of lunch and supper, really, in the 2 days that we met. I don't want to get into that. But I want to say to Mr. Ndibali today, go and start to be meaningful on the ground. Go and start. And I don't dispute that your successor, Thokozani Khuphe, is going to do that. Because Thokozani Khuphe is a people's person. He is living with the people. On the issue of you saying, I've got a Zimbabwean passport, what, it was in the meeting that I had with you in Sentin, in your hotel room, that you asked me that, gentlemen, what do I do? I'm a British citizen. So how am I going to be involved in politics? Because I don't want this to be known. So andambofembera zvandaitaura, andambofembera, andambozwana kupi ndimi makazvitaura mega kuti mobatsirika sei kuti vanhu vasazive kuti you are a foreign based player. I don't wake up in the morning and talk about citizenship of somebody that I don't know. You confirmed it in your hotel room in front of all the leaders that were there. As of the issues of what transpired at HICC, this man here is not in a position to talk about that because he's not a member of the MDC. Internal processes are being taken, underway to identify the person who slapped our Vice President, Madam Thokozani Khuphe. And when that person is identified, they are going to be prosecuted. I, Shelton Chiyangwa, the chairperson of South Africa Youth Assembly, South Africa Province Youth Assembly, condemn in strongest terms what has happened at the HICC, the violence that erupted. And I can safely tell you that it was caused by people who are not members of the MDC. We had come to disrupt processes that were going on smoothly, that had been hired. It was the hand of the enemy that actually came to disrupt processes that were going on smoothly. So whatever that must have happened, then the party, through the able leadership of Senator Douglas Ngonzora, who is now our president, they are busy working on trying to make sure that the party is reunited, the party is brought together, all membership are united, and everyone is brought together. And whoever was the perpetrator of what transpired to Madam Khuphe, is going to be identified in due course after all the necessary investigations are done, and the prosecution will definitely take place. I am seated here condemning that kind of violence. And lastly, I want to say, Mr. Gambakwe, I want to thank you for bringing me to this platform and of course present to you my side of the story, and those are the two issues that I've simply clarified, that I'm not a member of the EFF and I did not slap our vice president, and many other issues that came up through this discussion. I want you to know, and everybody else who is listening, that these are dynamics of politics that I play. I am not surprised with the article that was written. I'm not surprised with the allegations. I'm not surprised with the claims that are being made by people. But that does not put me away from where I stand. Where I stand is very clear. The past that I was involved is very regrettable. But I am busy working on correcting my ways and making sure that I can be and remain a credible person in the politics of Zimbabwe, because I love politics, and I believe that we are supposed to be ushering a new era of politics, a new dynamics of politics to the people of Zimbabwe, and see them from the joke of the regime of ZANU-PF. So I'm presenting myself to the people of Zimbabwe as a person who is going to be a part of the fight against the regime of Emmerson Mnangagwa, against the regime of ZANU-PF. I'm presenting myself. I don't need to be approved by Mr. Ndibali. I'm not enemies with this gentleman, so I don't need to be approved by him or anybody else to say that I can be a credible person. The people of Zimbabwe have got a right to do so. About myself, I will push the politics that I understand from where I stand, and make sure that I fight for the rights of our people, and make sure that we deal away with the regime of Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. I thank you.
Right, gents, this has been a very long conversation, and I do not want us to continue. We've gone for over an hour and 15 minutes. So what I decided to do is, Mr. Ndibali, I know you have a lot to say about your party, about your background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer you another opportunity to come when we talk about your party, because I want people to understand your political party, the EFF. So Shelton, thank you very much for joining. Mr. Ndibali, thank you very much for joining. Mr. Ndibali, I will discuss with you.
Just before you go, because I don't want people to have a misunderstanding. For me, I've got dual citizenship. Shelton, look, these are two passports. I take this passport in Zimbabwe, both of them. I have never thought, I went to court and I defeated the state when they tried to stop me from participating in politics. You must know that. If you're a politician and you don't know that, the Ndibali case, the state against the Ndibali case, which actually makes that every Zimbabwean anywhere in the world can participate in Zimbabwe politics, you must be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, I think let's take this for further discussion. If possible, before the end of this week, I'll call you back here. We have a discussion. Let's bring this to an end. There's so much which we have discussed, which we need to digest. And then Shelton, I also bring you on your own side, not to do with this particular issue. But I think what we can say is that both of you have got very firm positions. And I don't think we've moved closer. The two of you have not moved closer. So let's let the situation develop and then see what happens. So unfortunately, I have to say good night without finishing. I know we've not finished, but Mr. Ndibali, I'll call you before the end of this week so that we can discuss and the audience can get a better understanding of you. And Shelton, thank you very much. I hope that you will not be named by the investigation as the person who slept.
No,
Dr. Thokozani Khuphe,
you should not. I don't want them to use me as if I said he didn't. That one, I would, I can differ with him on other things. That one, okay. I have not said that it is misquotation. But I said I cannot vouch for him. That's all that I said.
Okay. Right. So good night to everyone. Good night to everyone who's watching from home. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. And Shelton and Mitandivali, thank you very much for joining and talking to us for so long.
Thank you, Mr. Kambako. Thank you very much.